We all know our country was founded and developed by immigrants. Immigration has been an undeniable aspect of American history. However, there is a clear difference between illegal and legal immigration. Illegal immigration is unjust and unfair to immigrants who are following the correct process of becoming legal residents. According to the Pew Hispanic Center in 2008, there were 11.9 million undocumented immigrants in the United States. So it's no wonder why there's so much attention surrounding this issue. There are many aspects involved in the controversy. Most notably, its impact on the unskilled job market, healthcare system, public education system, and fiscal balance. I'm going to argue that illegal immigration causes a greater negative impact than positive on America. My first point is that illegal immigrants compete with legal residents for unskilled jobs. A vast amount of illegal immigrants are unskilled, meaning that they have the lowest level of education, which is typically below or equal to a high school degree. According to Stephen Malanga with City Journal, in 2006, 30% of all unskilled workers were unemployed. We can only imagine how the statistic has increased. Furthermore, according to the Center for Immigration Studies, also known as CIS, 15% of the American unskilled population is unemployed. With this in account, we can infer that there is no shortage of labor, and with the dire state of the economy, we can assume that these legal residents will be willing to work unskilled jobs, whether it be ranging from restaurant work or to construction. Therefore, there is competition within the labor market between undocumented and legal people. Oftentimes, illegal immigrants can displace legal workers because they will work for cheap and below minimum wages. According to Stephen Camarado with CIS, if more undocumented immigrants keep entering the country, there will be an even higher level of unemployment and an increased level of poverty. This is because the modern American economy offers limited opportunities for individuals with inadequate education. If illegal immigration is prevented, there will be more jobs available for legal workers. Continuing on to my next point, I state that illegal immigration costs the healthcare system a great amount of money. The Pew Hispanic Center claims there are nearly 7.1 million uninsured, undocumented immigrants. These immigrants rely on other ways to receive medical assistance, and frequently they depend on emergency Medicaid, which caters to low-income families and is funded by state and federal governments. Now, Medicaid pays for some or oftentimes all of the medical costs. Other times, they cost the hospitals large amounts of money by resorting to treatment in ER rooms, because by law, hospitals cannot reject any patient in emergency room visits. In California, a study by the Federation for American Immigration Reform found that an estimated $1.4 billion goes towards funding illegal immigrant health care. My third point is that illegal immigration puts a burden on the public education system. Currently, the country's public schools are overcrowded and lacking funds. The growing presence of children of undocumented immigrants in schools has fueled concern. The Washington Post states those children now account for about 1 in 15 elementary and secondary school students nationwide. And according to the Federation for American Immigration Reform, undocumented immigrants cost the country nearly around $9 billion a year in education expenses. Lastly, illegal immigration creates a net fiscal deficit. Stephen Camarado with CIS conducted a study on the fiscal impact of illegal immigrant households and found that although many of them pay taxes, the amount they pay in taxes does not cover costs put towards food assistance programs, medical assistance, federal education, and other systems such as prisons. Camarado estimated that after subtracting taxes from these costs, these households each created a $2,736 negative fiscal balance. In conclusion, although some illegal immigrants may contribute to America by paying taxes and oftentimes working for lower wages, there is still a burden put on legal residents, because the amount of taxes undocumented residents pay does not suffice the cost through their use of public services. My family came to this country taking nearly 15 years. I believe the strong existence of illegal immigration is unfair to those who worked hard to come here legally. All in all, illegal immigration causes a greater negative impact by imposing costs on the healthcare system, education system, and undercuts wages and jobs for low-skilled legal residents. Thank you.
All right, you have a very clear statement of your position. Be careful because you start off with a value issue in the beginning, and then you kind of come back to some value arguments in kind of the summary of your point of view. But you are sticking, for the most part, to a claim of fact there. It sounds like there's a layout of the structure, but it's really just a general sense of what the data is that you're going to be talking about. And so I think you could be a little bit more specific when you set up that structure and tell us those are going to be the supporting points. As you go through them, they're actually pretty clear and signposted well. You cite evidence on all of the individual points. You usually have a pretty clear explanation of what's going on there. I thought on a couple of the points that your explanation, the evidence that you presented, was pretty convincing. On a couple of the points, your explanations are clear and understandable. The evidence that you had didn't always seem to be quite as convincing. It's a basic introduction on the concept. For instance, on the healthcare issue, I think that you have an explanation and some descriptive data there, but I didn't really get the sense that there was a strong connection to that conclusion as you had, let's say, on the employment issue that you started with. So it could probably be filled in a little bit on some of those secondary points. And that's the main criticism. I thought you did a nice job talking to the audience and pacing the information. You're very consistent about citing your sources during the presentation. A couple of the organizations that you're citing, you might want to give them a little bit more qualification to and explain who they are and why their knowledge on this particular topic is authoritative. But I thought that you did a good job presenting information to support your point. All right, thank you.